All right, let's jump right into this. Today, we are taking a highly effective, science-backed 7-exercise leg day routine and translating the whole thing into a clear, actionable blueprint for your very next gym session. We're going to break down the mechanics, the anatomy, and the precise programming you need for maximum growth. But listen, before you touch a single weight, every perfect leg day has to start the exact same way. We're talking a 5 to 10 minute dynamic warm-up on the treadmill or the Stairmaster. You've really got to get those hips and knees primed for the brutal work ahead.
Okay, let's dive into this. We are basically following a chronological gym flow here, broken down into 5 core phases. We've got the heavy foundation, volume and hypertrophy, targeted muscle isolation, the science of calves, and we'll wrap it up with the core finisher. So you can go ahead and consider this your ultimate workout log for the day.
Starting off with Phase 1, the heavy foundation. We begin with the absolute most neurologically demanding heavy compound lift of the entire routine, the conventional deadlift. Now, you're doing just one heavy top set of 5 reps here, and you want to push that to an RPE of 8 or 9. Basically, that means you're leaving just 1, maybe 2 reps in the tank. Now, you might be thinking, what if conventional deadlifts just aren't my thing? Hey, maybe they tweak your lower back, or honestly, maybe you just hate doing them. Don't worry, we've got you covered. You can easily swap in the trap bar deadlift if you want more quad emphasis. Or, if you want a more glute-dominant alternative, hit the barbell hip thrust instead. You could even go with Bulgarian split squats with a slight forward lean. That's going to absolutely torch the glutes and hamstrings. The point is, you can sub these in without ruining the flow of the routine.
So how exactly do you progress on this? Well, it really depends on your goal. If you're a lifter aiming for raw strength, you'll want to use linear periodization. Basically, you drop a rep and add a bit of weight each week. So 5 reps in week 1, 4 in week 2, and you keep dropping until you hit a 1 rep max in week 5. Then, week 6 is a much-needed deload with lighter loads. But if you're purely chasing hypertrophy, strictly muscle growth, keep it simple. Just stick to 5 reps the whole way through and focus on slightly upping the weight or really just dialing in your technique.
Moving right along, you're going to strip the weight back significantly for our first variation, which is the stiff-legged deadlift. You'll drop to about 50 to 60% of your heavy working weight. So, for example, if you just pulled 405, drop it down to 225. You're hitting 2 sets of 8 reps here. To nail the mechanics, follow these exact steps. Keep your hips high, keep your knees straighter than you would on a conventional pull, and make sure you initiate the movement purely by hinging at the hips. Start light, and definitely don't push this to failure until your technique is absolutely flawless. Let's move on and see how this builds in Phase 2. Volume and hypertrophy. Since those deadlifts were so hamstring and glute dominant, it is time to shift gears and totally smash the quads on the leg press using a medium stance. So the crucial point for your 4 sets of 10 to 12 reps is all about execution at the top of the movement. Keep a slight knee bend. Whatever you do not lock out and do not pause. Using a really smooth, constant tension approach is a real game changer. It's going to dramatically increase your quad activation. And guys, here is your absolute non-negotiable rule for pacing: 2 minutes. That is your maximum rest time between leg press sets. If your rest too long, say you get caught up scrolling on your phone, the workout is going to drag out terribly, and I guarantee you'll lose your mental focus by set 3 or 4. Keep the pace moving. Okay, transitioning into Phase 3, targeted muscle isolation. This section is all about precision, ensuring that absolutely 0 muscle fibers get left behind after those big, heavy compound lifts. We're kicking this off with 3 sets of 8 to 10 reps on the glute ham raise. Now, if your gym actually has a GHR machine, awesome, use it, ideally with a counterweight. If not, you gotta improvise. You can set yourself up on a lat pull-down machine using a stick as a counterweight, or just grab a partner and have them pin your ankles for Nordic curls. The real secret to all of these? You have to stay in the active range. Literally, cut out the top quarter of the movement entirely, because once you get up there, the tension on your hamstrings drops to 0. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the anatomy. You might think that leg press was enough for your quads, right? Well, anatomically speaking, it's actually not. The large rectus femoris head of your quadriceps is totally unique. It crosses both the knee joint and the hip joint. Because of this dual joint setup, it literally never reaches its full contractile potential during heavy compound movements. To hit peak contraction on that specific muscle, leg extensions are absolutely mandatory. For these extensions, you're going for 3 sets of 8 to 10 reps. But here's the catch. You need a strict 3-second count on the negative or eccentric portion of the lift. Why 3 seconds? Well, the eccentric phase is highly hypertrophic, meaning it's prime time for muscle growth.
Plus, intentionally slowing down like this forces you to use a slightly lighter load, which is much friendlier on your knee joints while still giving you a massive stimulus.
All right, into phase 4, the science of calves. We're looking at the seated calf raise here. And get ready, because we're about to challenge some deeply held old-school bodybuilding beliefs.
And this brilliantly illustrates the old way of thinking. For decades, traditional gym logic basically told us the calf has two main muscles, and you treat them differently. The idea was that you target the soleus muscle by doing calf raises with a bent knee, like on a seated machine, and you target the larger gastroc muscle by doing raises with a straight knee.
But then, a revealing 2020 study came out and completely flipped the script on us. It totally debunked the idea that you can effectively target the slow twitch-dominant soleus just by blasting it with higher reps. As it turns out, the soleus responds quite poorly to both high-rep and low-rep training. It's incredibly stubborn. Because of this, the time you're spending trying to isolate it on a seated machine might actually be better spent on a straight-leg machine targeting the highly responsive gastroc instead.
So what does this all mean for you practically? Well, despite this new science, the smartest move right now is actually to keep both the straight leg and the bent knee variations in your routine. Until long-term hypertrophy studies directly compare the two for actual muscle growth, including both ensures maximum well-rounded development. Obviously, if you don't have a seated machine, don't sweat it, but if you do, keep it in the mix.
And finally, phase 5, the core finisher. To completely wrap up this push-pull leg sequence, we're hitting Roman chair leg raises.
To get the most out of this, I'm going to rapid-fire these essential form cues for your 3 sets of 10 to 20 reps. Ready? First, actively curl your lower back. Don't just casually lift your legs. Squeeze your abs hard at the top. Avoid excessive swinging. Literally, the moment you need momentum to get your legs up to chest level, that set is officially over. If it's too tough, just bend your knees to scale it back. And if it's too easy, slow that negative drop down to 2 or 3 seconds to make it significantly harder.
So I leave you with this. Now that you're armed with this step-by-step, scientific blueprint, how will you adapt these exact principles into your next leg day? The science is incredibly clear, the flow is mapped out perfectly, and the execution is entirely up to you. If you want to dive even deeper into this, definitely check out the full 12-week push-pull legs hypertrophy system over at jeffnipper.com. Thanks so much for tuning into this explainer, guys, and honestly, enjoy the gains.